What is within will come out for sure. And so I'm noticing this in my sessions recently. I've been pretty busy with sessions and with getting ready to move house on Wednesday, but I have noticed some themes emerging. And what I'm seeing is that, as I said to one client today, and it made me smile, is that, I said, so many people are feeling the seriousness of our situation. Clearly, it feels like nothing will ever quite be the same again, and I hope it won't be, to be honest with you, in one way or another. I hope that this does make change for us. But nevertheless, that there's this pandemic, and yet on an individual level in my sessions, people are describing some interesting things. It could be that the focus is on relationships. It could be that people are concerned about their self-image. It could be that they're worried about their relationship to success and maybe failing now because they're not able to work or do the things that they would normally do. There's obviously a lot of concerns, but sometimes it can seem that these concerns in the face of the larger picture are narrow, looking at life through a straw, so to speak. But everything is in everything, and I say that all the time. And so whatever has come up for you, for your attention, that may seem like a very local issue, your situation, but it makes it no less important, first of all, because your personal experience is what you're here to have. The experience of being a person and facing these limitations that you hold and being able to meet them and to understand them and to accept them and to release them, ultimately, with no intent to get rid of anything, but as a consequence of the process of acceptance and meeting them. So that's what you're here to have the experience of. So in that experience, as in every experience we have, everything is in everything. Everything that you carry energetically is also found in that situation. And it's a reflection of what's going on globally too. So it matters not what you're contending with, because it's all relevant to the greater picture at the same time. So whatever's showing up for you is showing up for a reason. And the test of the time, I think, is because we are disconnected from, it's not just, social isolation or complete lockdown or whatever you face in whatever area that you're in. The effect is not just about isolating us from other people and the usual human connection. The most important thing, I think, that's happening as a consequence is that people don't have the same distractions. And so they're having to sit with stuff that they might be able to distract themselves with friends or social activities or workout routines or whatever it is you do out there in the world. You're not able to do in the same way, perhaps. And so you're sitting with yourself, and that can be very uncomfortable. It can be extremely uncomfortable to sit with yourself if you're not used to doing that. So some tips for that can be around, just breathe and let yourself feel what you're feeling. The more you try and run from it, the more you create in yourself, not just more fear of that, but also a sense of, you're kind of giving it fuel, if you will, because you're telling yourself you should be very afraid of this thing. But in fact, the thing you're afraid of is not the thing itself, but the fear. Think about that. So if you think you're afraid of confronting, or such a strong word, meeting your sense of isolation or aloneness, for example, it's not the isolation or aloneness, which is it's just a feeling, and it has no power over you except that which you give it, but it's the fear that you're afraid of meeting, in fact. And so when you allow yourself to breathe and to accept, the fear just naturally dissolves, and then you find yourself face to face with the feeling, which had no power of its own. It's like something that passes by, a cloud that passes by your vision. It only has an effect on you if you engage with it. So I'm not going to go too deeply into tips. I just want to talk about what's been coming up for people. I'm really noticing that, as I said, that these issues are rising up for people, and it's a very personal thing. And some people are even criticizing themselves for that, because they think, well, there's, much more important things going on, and should I really even be thinking about this? But no, this is the unique opportunity that you have given yourself, or has been given to you, whichever way you want to look at it, in order to just free yourself, to see and free yourself from that which has been holding you down. And for sure, it has been holding you down. People are rising, and they're lightening their loads, and I really feel that. I talked about earlier that there's some really beautiful connections and things happening with people, and there's no question that this is shining a light on how disconnected we have been previously. So I don't believe it's possible for us to return to life as it was in exactly the same way. We cannot but be changed by this, and that's perhaps a good thing. So for me personally, I guess what it's highlighted, because I'm moving house, and that's normally about process and control. So, do certain things in a certain order, in a certain way. And now, and it was kind of amazing to me, because when I signed my contract for my new place, literally that day and later that day, it all seemed to just sort of, what had been intimations and conversations happening in some of the media, but not on a big scale, suddenly it exploded, it seems like. And I thought, wow, what a time, for this to happen, for me personally too. And so what I've had to see and meet, I felt, and I wanted to, was the certainty and uncertainty. And the only certainty you have, and it's not quite the right word for it, but I'll use it for now, is you. So everything you thought that control seemed to represent for you, which is a sense of, let's say, security, loosely, and everything that you were holding on to in your life that gave you structure, etc., well, that's all within you. It was never about the way you externalized it. Yes, we focus on that, so it wasn't about doing things in a certain way. It's more about you being able to just accept and, let's say, adapt, but it's a dynamic process. So it's not carved in stone how we go through life. What is exciting is when we can meet it in the moment with no preconception about how it has to be met. So this process for me has certainly highlighted that, because I've had to adapt to these changing times. Things are not working the same way, and to I don't want to use the word trust, because trust in itself comes from a fear that there's something missing, in a sense. So you're kind of having to hold on to something. Well, you don't have to hold anything. It's more about allowing. It's about receptivity. So I've certainly been feeling into that receptive state, and things have been flowing beautifully, actually, I have to say. And the process of the getting ready for the move, it's going to happen, and the light that I'm able to then shine on these sessions that I've been having is, for me and for my clients, I think very illuminating. So what can I say to you in conclusion? I hope you're well, and I hope you're able to meet in a dynamic way what rises up for you, and that is a lot easier when you don't feel the need to judge it or to label it, and just allow what is, and it will reveal itself to you. And most significantly, I wish for you that you are revealed to you profoundly in these times.